One. Hey, how's everybody doing today? Welcome back for the first episode in 2024 of Coffee Talk with Brohawk. And I have the pleasure today of having our episode with Manu Dwievedi. Manu, did I get that? Did I get the pronunciation right there?
That was spot on, Mark. Yes.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Manu, thank you very much for being my guest. I know you're with Etech. The Etech organization. And really appreciate you coming on and being a guest on this episode. Can you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and what have you been up to these days?
Oh, absolutely, Mark. I would love to, and thank you so much for having me here. I am Manu Dwievedi. I'm currently director of Etech Insights. Etech Insight is an strategic AI and analytical division of Etech Global Services.
Uh-huh.
My specialty is machine learning and generative AI. Basically, I've been into contact center industry for a very long time. In just last decade, I think I have, been through almost every leadership role possible. And in last 6 years, I focused specifically on machine learning and AI and ensuring we are solving real world problem using those.
I love it. Um, so you've seen the wave, coming over the last, 6 to 10 years, and you're just kind of surfing that wave right on in.
Absolutely, sir.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So Manu, what are some of the biggest misconceptions leaders have around implementing, generative AI and that from your perspective, and how can leaders better understand the potential of generative AI?
Mark, I think one misconception that we are all, kind of talking about is that AI is going to replace jobs. But let's be very
Yeah.
honest, AI is not here to replace anything at all. It's going to be an enabler and augment agents and empower them to do more. I have something that, when I heard about it, it stuck me. And it was when Andrew Neg, like the father of AI, when you think about it that way, when Andrew Nick said that AI is the electricity of this century. Can we imagine
Yes.
without electricity today? No,
Oh
and
my
I
gosh.
same thing.
And AI touches really every part of our life in some way, shape, or form. And I think that the analogy of it being the electricity of our century, I think is a great analogy. Um,
Absolutely.
so how can leaders better understand the potential and what it can really do for them? Uh, you know, yeah,
I what I think, Mark, what ends up happening is there are companies who understand AI and they want to implement, and then there are
yeah,
companies working towards it. Let's talk about the ones who want to implement it. So once what ends up happening is we are in a rush to implement AI so quickly to appear modern sometimes that we just end up buying technology to put it on our shelves instead of having
yes,
a clear game plan, identifying use cases where AI can help me. Just buying AI doesn't really solve any problems unless there is a problem to solve. So identifying very clear use cases, ensuring you are investing in the right AI for that use case is the start.
I love it. Yeah, you don't have to, organizations don't have to buy every new tool out there and every bell and whistle that accompanies that new tool. Dip your toe in a little bit, right? You
Exactly.
know?
And I just being able to experiment or start
Yep.
small gives you the
Hmm.
power of ensuring that you can set up the right AI culture, because it
Yes.
gives you time to be able to spread that message, experiment, understand the things that are working out, the ones that you need to do it a little differently. And now
Hmm.
you're leaders through that education based, kind of educational session with real world experience of AI.
I love it. I love it. One of your job function is Etech Insights. Um, and one of the most fascinating uh, use cases that I find for AI is being able to listen and create. data points from every single interaction that customers are having with your organization. Um, and then that becomes basically the spokes that go out to product or other parts of the organization that can make better data driven decisions that weren't may not have been there available. um, so what steps should contact centers be taking today to kind of harness that energy uh, and start really preparing and piloting generative AI? What's the, I know you kind of talked about dipping your toe in a little bit, but what's the right mindset that contact center leaders should be focused on right now?
That's a good question. And I personally believe that contact centers are actually at the forefront of this technological advancement currently. Because,
Mhm.
when you think about it, large language models have evolved. And who better to understand and harness language learning than a contact center, right?
Yes.
As far as starting, I would say the first thing is to establish that correct culture of ensuring that people understand that AI is going to empower and enable them to do more. When you think
Yes.
about, let's talk about a real world problem, right? When you think about an agent, let's say I'm taking 20, 30 calls a day. Out of those, 15 have been around somebody's, just asking me to reset their password,
Hmm.
right? It's monotonous for me as well. Or let's say I took 30 calls today and 15 of those have been around me hunting, going into different knowledge bases, going into different documents to understand what I do need to do. What are the troubleshooting steps? Both of these issues can be solved in a snap by generative AI. And now you have empowered agents to be able to have a co-pilot of sorts that's telling
Uh-huh.
you need to do, and doing that in seconds so that you don't waste your time, and at the same time you don't waste customers time, right? Have who Nobody likes to be on phone more than 5 minutes, let's be honest.
Yeah. We can get on and off as quick as we can, as a customer.
Exactly. And I think that's the reason the one thing contact center needs to start doing is understand where AI can help agents and decrease that agent effort. One key metric that we have started, measuring at Etech now is agent effort. How effortful is it for an agent to be able to provide that resolution for your customer?
Yes.
Because the knowledge availability is an issue? Is it because the right training is not there? Or maybe, in fact, we are partnering with Jabra soon to even understand agents' auditory fatigue to ensure that we are able to empower them with the right tools to do this job. And I think that's what
Yes.
needs to focus on. Ensure that AI is used for the right use cases that can empower your population to do better and serve more and customers basically.
Would you say that, one use case um, may be to really streamline some behind the scenes processes?
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
you know,
For an
um,
example, let's talk about one of our customers. They were facing a very unique problem, Mark. This is a
okay.
large manufacturing customer, and their biggest problem is they have thousands of SKUs. Every
Mhm.
SKU has its own, warranty information, product information. It has its own troubleshooting steps as well sometimes, or its
Okay.
own products. Now, for an agent to be on a call with another business who just ordered one of these and be able
Uh-huh.
to talk and resolve those problems, they need to go into multiple knowledge bases to be able to do anything about it. Now,
Hmm.
with Assist, all they have to do is click on the suggestion being provided by AI because AI is, hearing that conversation and telling you, hey, they are asking about this SKU, this troubleshooting step, they should try this. That's it.
I love it. I love it. So, wait, do you think that companies and organizations need to put some guardrails around their AI usage? Because that there's some folks have said, some in the industry will talk about the knowledge that you're getting out is only as good as the knowledge that you're putting in. um, and so are there guardrails that an organization should really be looking at as a check and balance, basically, for how AI is functioning.
Oh, absolutely. And Mark,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. No tool, any tool basically is as useful as the use case or as people using it, right?
Yeah.
Even when we talk AI, there are two things that every organization needs to keep in mind. One, you have to ensure that your knowledge architecture is right. The data architecture that is being fed into AI, or the what AI is referencing, needs to be right, needs to be structured, and you need to ensure that you eliminate things like bias, any misinformation from those. Second, let's be honest, hallucination is a real problem. It's the big elephant in the room, right?
Yes.
But gotten around it by putting right guardrails. Now, in fact, there are semantic layers and even checking layers on top of AI, where a answer or a response is actually checked by another layer of AI to ensure that's correct. And if it's not, it goes away. So there are solutions already in place that ensure that you have right guardrails and you are able to use AI safely.
I
As long
love it.
as we keep that mind during implementation, instead of just implementing it, I think, this century is will be of AI for sure. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Um, so you talked a little bit about the how the agent role is going to be evolving, not replaced. Humans, should never be replaced. They'll just evolve into other roles um, within the organization. Um, how important is it, do you think, to get your frontline agents involved with any AI initiative that you may have?
This is one key thing that most of the organizations are currently missing. Decisions are made right up top and they trickle down, but they stop somewhere at the mid-managerial level.
Yep.
Agents just get to hear about it when it's being implemented. And that actually adds up to the panic. If
Yes.
opposed to that, we would start from the beginning by educating and empowering agents with the right information so that they know that this is not a threat. I'll give you an example of Etech, for an example, right? When we started implementing this, we didn't tell people that, you know what, this is 100% correct. Everything that is coming out will be perfect. And, we will be using this to evaluate every call you take from now on, right?
Hmm.
Or document more information that you need around performance. What we did was we ensured that agents are able to see it through webinars and see the steps that are being taken, understand the current workflow. And not only did it help us eliminate any panic, Mark, but agents understood that this is being done to empower them. And now they also understand that if I, for an example, there is a very small, you can say, feature module in one of our product QL that just tells agent, hey, these are the things you need to focus on. This is where you are currently. If you do focus on these, you will be here as far as your performance.
Nice.
And now, just with this module, agent knew I could earn more. And this is telling me how. So instead
I
of that
love it.
we actually made it about them. And that's the difference, basically.
I love that. Um, anytime you can show a human what the benefit is to them and how this is going to um, create longevity and engagement for them. Then fear of being replaced goes away. You know that is so critical. Um, so, what are some examples? If you have some additional examples of how early adopters are already blending generative AI and human agents today, what results are people seeing?
Oh, one key example that I think we have been talking about is Agent Assist or Agent Copilot. We are
Okay.
seeing this immensely well for our customers, where now agents are able to do much more
Yep.
and be able to handle much more customers as well because AI is there to help them. Even with routine tasks like customer verification, do you really need that first 3 minutes of the call for a human being to be there to just verify a customer? No, and
Yes.
I think agents have realized this now and they're happy. that when we get into the call, the customer is already verified, we have the right information, and the co-pilot is also telling me what to do to resolve it. So, these are some, this is one basic example that we are seeing everywhere. We are also seeing things like voice bots, where now voice bots are empowered with generative AI capabilities. So the conversations are much more nuanced. So, for an example, let's say you are calling, customer support because you are facing an issue. Now, the bots, instead of going through an IVR, bots are talking to you and ensuring you land to the right agent. That entire experience, think about it. I spent 2 minutes going through an IVR tree, selecting the right option. Okay, it's time to press 8, press time to press 6. That all goes
Yeah.
away.
Yes. It becomes a lot more flat,
Yes,
you know.
absolutely.
Um, oh, I think it's a great example. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think
And
it's,
each one of these, use cases are doing two key things for us. One, they are, reducing customer effort drastically
yeah.
and improving customer experience. Second, they are ensuring that agents are able to do much more than just validating customer or, helping with password resets and things like this.
Have you done any looking into what agent satisfaction or agent engagement rates are? You know, as a comparison between pre-AI implementation versus post-AI implementation. Um, I would imagine that somebody that's involved in implementing a new tool or technology is going to be a little bit more satisfied, a little bit more engaged. Have you all found that?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, Mark, during one of our recent implementation, we were worried that, even after doing it right, we will have agents who will not feel comfortable enough with it, right?
Yeah.
And when we actually implemented it and went back to agents after 2 weeks, there were two key things that I heard from almost every agent. One, they said, I can take more sales calls now. I am earning more. It's not replacing, but it has enabled me to actually be able to earn more. Second, every agent said that, okay, you know what? Now we see the power of AI where I don't have to answer questions that are very monotonous in nature. I'm enjoying my work more. I'm using human empathy, human creativity, drive to provide solutions to customer instead of just answering the same question on 10 to 15 calls a day.
I- that is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Um, so where do you see contact centers leveraging generative AI for personalization
Oh, that's
across all channels like chat or email? And what do if you have a crystal ball, what do you see the future really looking like?
That's yeah, especially about future, right? So, Mark, one thing that we all have seen is that the white glove experience that we provide in customer service, right? Be it any industry across the world,
Hmm.
we provide that white glove experience, but it's people service where we serve multiple people with the
Yeah.
exact same experience. The future is person service. We will be individualizing each one of these experience. Until now, it was very difficult having millions of customers, having their data and being able to customize this experience to them. Now AI has made that possible. You are able to ensure that when a customer calls you, you already understand what products they have, which one was the
Yes.
recent that they just bought, and maybe they're calling for it. You are also
Mhm.
able to understand that, for an example, let's take an example of an airlines company, right? Let's say
Yeah.
you book the ticket. Now, based on your customer data that is being provided by you, the company understand exactly what you do every time you board your plane. And this time, if you forget, they're gonna recommend you that, hey, you know what? Do you want to get this neck pillow? It's at 50% off today in the one of the airport store.
Nice. Well, and with I'm sure like with weather challenges and stuff, one of the things that AI can do is recommend, hey, we know it's going to be unseasonably cool or unseasonably hot, and actually generate a couple days out, um, some travel tips or some travel reminders that aren't necessarily like advisories or alerts or anything like that, but more something for planning because who's got time to watch the weather, wherever you're going to be. these days. Uh,
That's an amazing idea, Mark. Think about it. So let's say you are about to board a plane, it's 2 hour out, and you get an email, hey, you know what, Mark, today the roads are a little icy. We would recommend that you leave your house 30 minutes before whatever you were planning. And maybe
yes,
I checked it, but now I know. Yeah, that's
yes,
a in fact, there are some examples very close to real world that we are seeing where AI is actually making this different. For an example, as we were talking about, being in speech analytics and being able to understand customers' conversation from agent and customer side, we are
hmm,
seeing that we are able to understand customers better. We understand how they react to specific offers you make. We also understand if they would prefer to self-service or if they would prefer to talk to someone. And
yes.
this is kind of ensuring that now that we have this better understanding of our customers, we're able to customize those experiences for them and improve CX. In the end, it's all about improving that CX.
With CX, I mean, CX is really about relationships. And what AI is really allowing an organization to do is get out of that having that transactional relationship with their customer, and like you said before, a more personalized relationship with their customer. The key being relationship. And you're going to want to buy as a consumer, you're going to want to buy from people that you trust and you have confidence in. And you're going to continue to buy. So uh, I I love the idea of the personalization, aspect of what AI really brings to the table for us.
Oh, absolutely. And I think talking about future 10 years down the line, Mark, you and I, we will see this happening. Every interaction will be completely personalized.
I love it. I love it. So what I like to have these conversations really conversational. What questions can I answer for you?
Oh, thank you so much, Mark. In fact, I did have a question. I've been an audience of your podcast, and sometimes I feel like, we would love as an audience to know more about you. And one of the
Yeah.
questions that I have is, considering your expertise currently in this, industry and, the vast experience that you carry, what is one lesson that you would like to give your audience today about contact centers in 2024?
Um, Number one lesson, don't be afraid to try. Step out of your box and look at new technologies, look at new tools that are out there in the industry, and reimagine how things could be for your contact center, for your organization, um, that would make things better within your four walls, your virtual four walls. Um, what's that term? Fail forward. Uh, you know,
Yes.
I think that's a number one thing that um, um, I would encourage a lot of viewers and a lot of organizations to really look at. But it's a calculated fail as opposed to, hey, I'm all in, I'm going to jump in off the deep end. No, like we were talking about before, dip your toes in, where you're comfortable, but be uncomfortable about being comfortable, because you don't know what's going to happen as a result. And you may have some incredible learnings as an organization that you never imagined were out there. So be okay with failing forward. Um, and when you don't fail, hey, it's a win-win for everybody.
Those are amazing word, Mark. Yes, absolutely. It's all about the continuous momentum. As long as you are failing forward, you are still reaching something. Absolutely said.
Yes, yes. Um, you know the any other questions?
Uh, 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 I do have actually one more question since we are talking about it. So, I the technological landscape has shifted so drastically, in these few years that people who are at forefront of this, like yourself, who have seen this industry shift and change, what as one of those people, what are some specific leadership traits that you would like to, share with current contact center leaders so that they can be
Yeah.
better prepared for 2030, basically?
You know, when I know definitely when I started in the contact center industry, um, the most coolest technology that was out there at that time, and I'm talking like 34 years ago, was hey, we're going to implement an IVR, and IVRs were going to take over the world, and it was we weren't going to have to be better leaders because we wouldn't have agents in the contact center. And now we have more agents than ever. And we have 5 generations of employees working within our organization. So the one leadership trait that I think is going to be so critical is to understand how to communicate across generations, because how people are receiving information um, may not be exactly the same. Yeah, and this may be based on their intrinsic or extrinsic motivators. It may be their lens that they view the world through. Um, but being able to, as a leader, adapt your communication style to those who are on your team or within your organization, so that you can create uh, that stronger internal network of people that are really bought into your message. I think that's going to be the most critical leadership trait going into 2030. It goes back to don't be that transactional boss, be that relationship focused boss. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think relationship focused boss are will be the one who ends up winning in 2030, actually. Yes.
It it's funny. I interviewed for a job, 16 years ago. And the last question I asked the folks that were interviewing me was, are you looking for a leader or a manager? Because if you're looking for a manager, I'm the wrong person for that. If you're looking for someone who's going to come in and lead, then hopefully we'll see you within a month. And I ended up getting the job. You know, and I don't know if it was necessarily because of that, but it was one of those. It was one of those questions that I think a lot of at that time, a lot of leaders, senior leaders, weren't necessarily focused on. Do I want somebody to count beans, or do I want somebody to make sense of the beans,
Oh,
so
and
to speak?
Mark, this is so true. In fact, this is one thing that I love, kind of learned after getting to Etech was the servant leadership.
Hmm.
The entire ethos of serving your people, not being a
Yes.
boss. And, I see this every day when I walk in. When the technology landscape started shifting, Etech had a quality division that was listening to calls, people who were every day just listening to calls instead of doing like any other company would, just cutting the cost and hiring better skilled people. They
Mhm.
invested in ensuring that everybody grows to the next level. Today when I
Yes.
look outside this floor,
Mhm.
out of everybody that I see, half of them are the people who actually came from that time and they have evolved themselves into this new role. They are more skilled, they are earning more, and Etech as a company improved lives of individual. And I think there is a not a better example of how you can serve as a leader and not just be a boss. Yeah.
I love that. When as a leader, you can have such a positive impact on people's lives, their livelihood, their families. Um, that I mean, that's the holy grail as far as I'm concerned, as a leader. You well, hey, we've gotten to the point that I call the speed round. Are you ready for this?
Okay, all right, I'm ready. Let's go ahead.
Excellent, excellent. So you've had a very long and successful career up to this point, and you have many, many, many years ahead of you as well. So at this stage in your career, um, how would you answer this question? I wish I could go back in time and tell my younger self blank. And how would this have helped you in your career?
That's a good question, Market. My friends get very annoyed when we are, playing some games, and it comes to the time when we go as past young self, and I end up telling them, you know what, I don't really have anything because
Uh,
I believe that everything that I have achieved and reached here today, till today,
uh,
has been because of how it was planned, how it was, from the higher power, and ensured that, I have that faith to ensure that it was done right for me, as like long as I keep giving that 100% every day. Wake up, give my 100%. But there is one thing that I wish I knew 12 years down the line, and
uh,
that was try to blur the boundaries between hobbies and work a little more. Do what
ah,
you enjoy more, and maybe you will find exactly what you enjoy and you can work on it. For an example, where
yes,
I love tech, I love data, and I'm doing exactly this thing that I love every day.
I love it. What's the saying when you're doing something you love, you never work a day in your life?
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So, what fact about you would people be surprised to learn about you?
I think not many people know, but I started to dabble preparing food somewhere during the COVID era, and I
Okay,
love it. Become a hobby.
I love
I love cook for my family, for my wife, for my friends, invite them over, and especially the traditional Indian food, but done in a
uh,
way that it is modernized a little so that the younger generation likes it as well. My nieces, nephew, they love to eat it. So I think that's one hobby that people don't really know about me.
oh, I love it. I'm gonna, if I ever get over to India, I'm gonna have to take a sample.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, I would
That
love.
is awesome. So after a stressful day, what is your go-to tactic for unwinding?
I There have been multiple throughout the years, right? I have loved
Uh-huh.
walking, reading a lot. I started reading very young because my mom used to work in a library. So every time after school, we will go to her because her work ended 2 hours after my school. So for
Okay.
2 hours, we will sit with her, and then we will all go together home, right? So I've been reading since I was like 11, 12. So that has been very close to my heart. Recently, I think what gives me the most joy is spending time with my family. Basically, just going home, spending time with them, getting to talk to them, knowing how they have been doing. It has been the best stress buster, actually.
Awesome. That's awesome. So, Manu, if someone wants to pick your brain about um, any of the things that we've talked about, some of the initiatives that you're working on at Etech, um, how the work that you're doing can actually help other organizations. What conferences or events are you planning on attending, or generally, how can someone pick your brain for a few minutes?
Oh, if you ever want to contact me, you can always email me at manu@etechtexas.com. That is MANU at etechtexas.com. We are currently at the CCW conference. We will be there again in Vegas. Feel free to drop by and stop by at our booth. We would love to talk to you. You can always come to the Etech website, that is Etech Global Services, etechgs.com, and just fill an inquiry, and I would love to get in touch with you. Or you can always find me on LinkedIn.
Excellent. Hey, and if somebody wants me to do a soft introduction with you, I would be more than happy to go ahead and do that as well. So excellent. Manu, thank you very much for being a guest on this episode. I have a feeling we could probably talk for hours on some of these topics. And I do hope that we get the opportunity to do that in person at some point in time over the years. Um,
Absolutely.
with that, if you like the content here, please go ahead and like this episode, share this episode with your friends, families, peers, anybody that you think might be interested in learning more about AI and the work that's being done in this space. Manu, Thank you very much. I'm very honored to have you on today, and look forward to talking with you again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Mark. I have enjoyed our conversation thoroughly. It felt more like a discussion between friends. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, and have a great day now.